The Chicago Teachers Union.
Oh, I saw that. Stop the bombs. I think my reply to you originally was a stop the bombs an hour
Well,
before
the
anybody
funniest
heard
part
about
about it
this.
is they misspell words on here. Like they spelled coalition cola,
Yeah.
COLA. If you're not capable of teaching the kids how to read, you worry about your protests. Shut the fuck up. In other words, it's funny though. Emergency Chicago protest. No war. Stop the bombings, which were stopped like before these came off the printing press, which
Yeah.
is even more hilarious. There's an account on Twitter called Maze. I'm not sure if that's his handle or not, but if you typed in Maze, you'd find him. He must have access to LexisNexis because he can find snips from C-SPAN that a normal person wouldn't be able to find, right? And since he's a verified account, he is allowed to put up like a snippet, right? Like you and I could put up a video or share a video or whatever, right? Or share a clip.
Did you seriously just reference LexisNexis?
Yeah.
Which I don't think anybody under the age of 50 knows what that is. I can't believe I even know what it is. Is that still around? Can people do that?
Oh yeah, LexisNexis search.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't. I know it was like the original internet back in like the.
So he goes
Hey.
and he finds all these senators that are all pissed off today and whining and sniveling about, Trump and Venezuela, right? And it's fucking hilarious. And then I went and found some tweets. Here's Senator Chris Murphy. The invasion of Venezuela has nothing to do with American security. Venezuela is not a security threat to the United States. This is about making Trump's oil industry and Wall Street friends rich. Trump's foreign policy, the Middle East, Russia, Venezuela, is fundamentally corrupt. This is Chris Murphy 20 minutes ago, or 2019. If Trump cared about consistency, he would make the realist case for intervention in Venezuela. Getting rid of Maduro is good for the United States rather than trying to pretend this administration all of a sudden cares about toppling anti-government, anti-democratic regimes. And there's like all these fucking senators that did the same fucking thing. Like he thought like clips of Schumer going, we need to intervene in Venezuela and stand up for democracy. Last 24 hours have been losing their fucking minds. Trump's illegal invasion of Venezuela, right? And I once again, I just want to stress everybody, I didn't vote for Cheeto, but when he does something good, I'm honest about it and saying, yeah, that's a good thing, right? Or if he does something I agree with, I'm like, yeah, that's a good thing. He signs an executive order telling the Department of Education that they are going to stop with transgender ideology in schools. I'm going to go, I'm cool with that. If he signs an executive order saying that the federal government is no longer going to pay for sex change operations, I'm like, okay, I agree with that. We've all seen the resistance left to the point where, like, no matter what he does, if he does something they agree with, they lose their, and that's why you get phrases. That's where the word Trump derangement syndrome came from. It's like, okay, you actually like, here's a position you took
It
20
killed
minutes
Rob
ago.
Reiner.
Huh?
It killed Rob Reiner. TDS.
Yeah, that
Sorry,
was,
Jason.
and that was a really poor taste.
It
What
was
Trump
poor
did there
taste.
was a really, really poor taste. He does things like that, and I just, I roll my eyes and go, why do you do that?
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. It's
Why
like
do you fucking do it?
two steps forward, three steps back sometimes with this guy.
Yeah, and it's like, and that's how you know he's doing all, like, just fucking laughing. Like, he's not really the one tweeting. He's got dementia, is too old, or whatever, something. Trump's not doing that. No, I guarantee you he's doing fucking tweets.
Yeah,
That's how you
he's
know it's fucking
definitely
him.
doing it.
That's how you know it's him.
Just want to say something about the Venezuela thing. Here's what makes me think it's a good thing. The response of Venezuelans, listening to Venezuelans. I think that's really all you need to know. And I wanted to ask you this.
The long-suffering people of Venezuelans for 25 years. 25 fucking years they've been living under.
This is a question I wanted to ask you. 25 years, I think, is a key number. Like, if we're compared to Iraq or anything else where we've intervened, this is already way better because it's so surgical, so precise. Nobody died in stealing their leader. We did that without a single U.S. death, which is fucking insane. But we failed in Iraq with regime change. But Iraq is I mean, it's a culture we didn't understand from the get go. It was kind of
And as I have
embarrassing
to
when we were
remind
around it,
everybody,
right?
we invaded Iraq with 180,000 troops. We used 800 aircraft. We didn't capture Saddam for 8 months.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. So, yeah, and it's not in our hemisphere. Like Venezuela's oil is sanctioned from many different countries. They're not allowed to sell oil to China, Cuba, Russia, etc. Right? And they do. They have their ghost ships out. Maduro was propped up by drug cartels and oil money that he sold at a reduced price to
He is
countries.
a drug cartel. I'm going to correct you. He basically is a drug cartel. I
Yeah,
think is the best way to.
right. And so I mean, not unlike Manuel Noriega, people kept comparing this whole thing to like Iraq, and I'm like, the comparison is Panama, you fucking idiots.
The, people are going to compare it to Iraq, though. They're going to do that. But the question I have for you is, you said 25 years.
Yeah,
In my mind, a 25-year commie regime isn't a big deal to overthrow, and I think it's very possible because in 25 years, man, people remember 25 years ago. They remember what it was like before Hugo Chavez.
yeah.
In Iraq, it's so fucked and so foreign to our way of thinking. I don't think Venezuela is necessarily that way. I mean, we had such good relations with them. I mean, I just learned recently all of their oil was basically refined in Texas before Hugo Chavez. Right. So we had a great relationship and they were pretty fucking rich because of it. Am I
They were
wrong?
they were the most prosperous country in South America, in the lower part of the hemisphere, right? And they were for years. But we don't need Venezuela's oil. If we were refining all of Venezuela's oil, it would have like 1%. We are now producing 14 million barrels of oil a day. That's why gasoline prices in like 15 states is now like at $2 a gallon or below. It even came down in your great state of California, right? Even with
I
the
think
added taxes and surge, that Governor Newsom put. But yeah, it was a prosperous country. It was a free country. Like America only wants Venezuela's oil. No. Will the United States allow Venezuela to produce oil and sell it on the world market? Yes, we will. Will that help the people of Venezuela? Yes, it will. Venezuela stole all of our oil rig equipment when the communists took over. So we're probably going to take a little bit back in payment because Donald Trump, he's a fucking real estate magnate. Fucking a well, he's sitting there with a fucking piece of paper at some point going, oh, asking people how much was it for the oil rigs, how much was it for that, right? And and how much oil did we get fucked out of like in the first 5 years? And he's going to add it up and probably
Mhm.
subtract it. There was a Venezuelan who did a video. There's a Venezuelan at a celebration, right? And some enterprising reporter who leans left was like, "Aren't you worried about the U.S. getting Venezuela's oil?" He goes, "Who do you fuck you think gets it now? Russia and China and Cuba. What do I care if the United States gets it?" Right? The point he was making was pretty obvious, like. But no, we're not going to take Venezuela's oil.
Well,
And
these people they're not even asking the right questions. The question is what's best for the Venezuelan people, and free trade of their massive oil reserves, second highest in the world, is
yeah,
obviously the best thing. And for
yeah,
capitalism to flourish so it can make their country a better place, it's not even that hard to understand.
and not to mention the brutal dictatorship the guy that that
Oh yeah.
that that he lorded over. The torture, the world's worst inflation, the world's worst economy,
How many
basically.
thousands of political prisoners are there right now
Yeah,
that need to be released immediately?
yeah. We just literally took Maduro and nobody else, and we even left his vice president
Well,
in.
his wife, technically.
Oh yeah, excuse me, he and his wife. And there might be his son that ends up getting snatched by the Delta Force. We didn't decapitate the entire government, but I can guarantee you that the vice president of Venezuela is like looking at all this, going, "Yeah, you better fucking believe I'm going to cooperate with the United States, right?" Along with the generals and along with a lot of other people. A lot of people in the government are going to go, "Yeah, I think we should probably cooperate." it's going to make Cuba behave, and it really hurts the Russians. Russians and the Chinese are the biggest beneficiary of the reduced price oil that was getting sent on ghost ships to both countries, but especially Russia, because they've been using that oil to pay for the war against Ukraine, and it really hurts Vladimir Putin. So I'm done with Trump is Putin's puppet, a puppet of Russia, an agent of Russia, all that fucking nonsense. Like
That was nonsense at the time. It was nonsense in
nonsense at the fucking
2015.
time, and it's like I'm like, yeah, this really hurts Vladimir Putin. It really does.
Oh yeah, one quick question before we leave.
Yeah, yeah.
The vice presidents, the generals, and new leaders of Venezuela, do you think any of them gave a shit about actual Venezuelans, and Maduro and his regime just kind of got in the way? Is there any hope that these people actually, some of them are actually halfway decent, and they'll do something to make their population not be living in squalor and fucking starving like they are right now?
Man, I don't know. Yeah, I think there's a chance that some of them are. I wouldn't want to venture a guess on what percentage that is. I think some of them are. In every totalitarian regime, what happens is that you have to cooperate and work with the dictator. Otherwise, you're going to get fucking whacked, right? You're going to get whacked, or you're going to fucking lose your job and get sent into exile somewhere and be expelled from politics or the military, whatever it is you do. At the same time, you're also a witness to the crimes that the dictator commits. We wouldn't have been able to do what we did without having assets there.
Yeah.
So we know we have pro-American assets on the ground who may have started off, being, all gung-ho for Maduro, Chavez, and communism, who, after 20 or 25 years went, man, this shit really sucks.
Yeah. No, good point. Good point. Well, I hope all these Venezuelans have a better life from here on out. I'll drink to that.
Well, it's funny watching people from Venezuela go to the socialist protests where there's not a single Venezuelan there and telling them that they're all fucking nuts. It's fantastic. So, viva la independent journalists and people who are very articulate and can put their stories out there. That's something we didn't have not too long ago. And
thank God we can bypass the propaganda networks that masquerade as news.